Once again, we turn our insightful gaze towards the works of Oats Studio. This time is going to be a little bit different. We're going to take a look at a collection of short films. They produced 4 of them. They're the Cooking with Bill segments. So let's take a look. Gotta let everybody know up front, these are going to be spoiler-filled reviews. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out now. All right, you're here, you've seen it, let's dive in. So there's basically 4 shorts, and they're kind of, I don't want to say broken down into categories, but I guess the first one, and then actually the first one that was released, Damasu 950, is sort of on the gore side of things. Then there's Smoothie and Sushi, which seem to be concerned with hair. I don't know. And then the last one, which is Presto Veg, irony, I suppose we would call it. All right, we're gonna have to tackle this a little bit different this time around. Doing likes and dislikes doesn't really apply. Also, we're doing 4 shorts. You know, I could do 4 likes, dislikes. Take up a lot of time, and you know, the other thing is that these are all obviously very similar. You know, they're all sort of parody or homage, whatever you want to call it, to the 80s infomercial, utilizing sort of 90s and 2000s and modern time concept and ideas. Trust me, sushi was not a big thing in the 80s, from what I understand. Wasn't alive during that time, but I've asked my parents. So regardless, you know, these are also very strange to be talking about individually, because the first one that came out was actually very spaced apart from the last 3. Last 3 were kind of released simultaneously, and the first one was the Damasu 950, and it was very predictable, and honestly a bit of a letdown insofar as I get the 80s homage, I get the bad VHS tape, the rolling lines, and I get the bad haircuts and outfits and infomercials, and that's all perfect and wonderful, and I'll give, you know, mad props for the you know, achieving that look and feel and goal and everything else. And then he whips out the big
now. And it's really a showstopper. It is the Damasu 950.
You know, sort of chainsaw cutter thing, and you're like, okay, so someone's losing, you know, an arm or fingers or whatever up, right? I mean, that's just, I mean, that was clear from the get-go. Then we get to the punchline, and it hits, and then it ends, and I'm kind of like, okay, right, why didn't it chop his hand off and then lose control, and then chop her maybe arm off, and then a grip guy comes in to do something and he loses a head, because, you know, I mean, they could have really gone over the top, and I kind of was hoping that that's what they were going for. Then the next 3 get released all at one time, and boom, all that's out the window. You know, and what we get is the same thing. You know, 80s infomercial, little toying with the tech, you know, showing how old everything looks, and that's great. And then I guess, you know, like I said, you know, sushi, and the other, it's some kind of hair joke. I guess I missed it. I don't know. Obviously the female co-host with the big hair looked a little bit embarrassed and ashamed. Smoothie, sorry, that was the other one. And so, are we supposed to believe that it's her hair clogged up in the machine? And, you know, if so, why is the guy eating it? I mean, it's gross out. You know, I guess. But it's also kind of like stupid from the standpoint of, but again, yeah, and then again, by the same token, I guess you got to play the game of like, oh, well, it's you're pushing a product, and it's you know, no matter what, you got to go through with it and everything else. But I mean, come on, I mean, this isn't, you know, this is 1910 where we can't, you know, cut and film is so super expensive. I mean, it just wouldn't happen, you know. The sushi would come out with hair on it, and it'd be like, yeah, that's it, okay, forget it, you know, we'll reshoot it. That's kind of reality. So again, I don't understand what they're going for, where the joke, where the punchline, where the ooh ah is. And I guess, you know, the final one, the veggie presto, is like, okay, they put in a tons of vegetables and out comes rotting maggot fly infested meat. Aha, aha, aha. You know what? I mean, I don't know. I'm scratching my head, and I'm scratching my head in all honesty, because pretty much everything else that's come out of Oats Studio has been, if not good, exemplary. You know, and I mean, you know, there's a short film that they also put out, and I haven't done anything on it yet, because much like Cooking with Bill, I'm suspecting that it's going to be a series, and then when that series is completed, I'll talk about it. And that's God Serengeti, and you know, again, I won't ruin it or spoil it, but that is also very, very good. Whereas these Cooking with Bill segments, I'm not getting the joke, I'm not getting the punchline. If it's just to say that we're mocking and making fun of 80s infomercials, okay, like the infomercial is a mockery in and of itself. You know, it hasn't changed, it hasn't gotten any better. You know, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? Again, the original concept or precept that these short films could be inspirations or movements to some feature-length thing, and obviously Rocca fits that bill, Firebase fits that bill. God, even God Serengeti almost fits that bill if you want to stretch it out. But there's just no making a full-length feature film out of messed up 80s infomercials with questionable punchlines, or with this gore-filled, you know, losing of the hand. I mean, the guy's done. It's over. You know, he's lost his hand, or his co-host is getting him. Maybe that's the end of the movie. I don't know. So, you know, Oats Studio, like, you know what? I mean, you can't hit out of the ballpark every time. Let's just accept that. So the Cooking with Bill segments, bit of a miss, you know, for me, from Oats Studio. But please don't give up on them. Check out everything else, and the comment section below is going to be loaded up. I'm going to have links to Firebase, to Rocca, to the original videos, so you can go check them out, you know, make your own opinion, even the original video for God Serengeti. Definitely worthwhile. And then ultimately, you know, what these are really made for is to, you know, expand horizons, you know, give ideas, give concepts, and then hopefully money can be raised to make those. It's not just the studios that are putting forth money, but, you know, we ourselves can. And there's a link, again, in the description below to the Oats Studio site where you can contribute yourself. And I've done it. I highly recommend that you do it. We need to support these. There's some really great stuff being made, so definitely check it out. Ultimately, you're going to have to give Oats Studio Cooking with Bill segments a chance. You got to try it yourself. And when you do, come on back here. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. I could be off my rocker. Heck, I know I'm on my rocker, but maybe not about this one. Regardless, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a big like, please.